Welcome, trainees, to The Explainer. So today we're focusing on what's honestly one of the most common and, let's be real, most challenging behaviors you're going to encounter in dementia care. As personal care assistants, you guys are right there on the front lines, right? And you absolutely need a solid, reliable strategy to manage the daily hurdles of this incredibly demanding job. Okay, let's dive into this and look at exactly how we can effectively navigate repetitive questions with our clients. Be honest, have you ever caught yourself thinking, I literally just answered that 2 minutes ago. Please just stop bothering me. Or maybe you've overheard a super frustrated family member say those exact words. Look, it is absolutely crucial that we validate this feeling right out of the gate. The intense frustration of having a client ask you the exact same question over and over and over again, it's entirely normal. Even the most seasoned professionals feel it, for sure. When you're just trying to get a task done, maybe wrapping a gift or getting a meal ready, and you get interrupted every 2 minutes, it really can feel like you're being purposefully bothered. But to become a truly exceptional PCA, we've got to learn to look right past that initial wave of frustration.
So here's our game plan for today's session. Number 1, the repetitious question challenge. 2, the root of the behavior. 3, compassionate communication and redirection. 4, environmental tools and tweaks. And finally, number 5, preparation and patience.
All right, starting off with section 1, the repetitive question challenge, understanding the frustration. 50. Just think about that number for a second. In a single day, a client might literally ask you, what time is it and what are we doing? 50 times. We really need to establish this daily reality because, this isn't just some occasional little quirk. You give an answer and literally 1 minute later, they're asking the exact same thing again. It's enough to drive anyone crazy. And for a PCA, facing this volume of repetition without the right toolkit in your back pocket, that is a fast track to rapid caregiver burnout. You just can't white-knuckle your way through 50 repetitions of the same question every single shift. We need a real clinical strategy. Moving on to section 2, the root of the behavior, shifting your perspective. Okay, it is time to completely reframe how we look at this behavior. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows us repetitive questions are not your client trying to annoy you. Not at all. They're actually a behavior triggered by anxiety and memory loss. Very often, it boils down to an inability to express a basic need, an emotion, or sometimes just a desperate desire for reassurance. As a PCA, recognizing this totally flips the script. It transforms that repeating question from a purposeful annoyance into an unexpressed need that is literally crying out for your help. Let's break down these underlying causes a bit more to really build that clinical empathy. You see, as the disease progresses, people with dementia physically lose the ability to remember what they just said or did. It's like their brain's mental whiteboard gets wiped clean every few minutes. They aren't ignoring your previous answer, their brain has simply erased it. Plus, they're sometimes completely unable to verbally express what they actually need. They might be sitting there feeling cold or hungry or scared, but the only words that come out are, "What time is the party?" What they truly require in that exact moment is reassurance or attention, simply because their whole world is clouded by uncertainty and anxiety. Right, on to section 3, compassionate communication and redirection, how to respond effectively.
And this brilliantly illustrates the stark difference between an untrained reaction and a professional PCA response. Over on the left, we've got the ineffective response, arguing. Imagine a stressed caregiver snapping, "I answered that 2 minutes ago. The party's at 6. Stop bothering me. I need to finish wrapping this gift." The problem there, it relies on logic and short-term memory that the client just doesn't have anymore. But on the right, look at the skilled PCA response. When the client asks, "What time is the party?" the PCA responds calmly with, "Hey, let's find out together." They actually check the afternoon schedule together, note that it's 5 o'clock and time to get dressed, and then smoothly redirect the client by asking, "Hey, how about you help me sign Jane's birthday card?" Boom. It answers the question, it completely removes the uncertainty, and it redirects their focus to a fun, engaging task. It's a total game changer.
Up next is section 4, environmental tools and tweaks, managing the surroundings. Modifying your client's physical space and their daily routine is honestly just as important as how we speak to them. Let me walk you through this super effective strategy for tracking the daily schedule. It seriously reduces client uncertainty over time. Step 1, simply place a dry erase board in a really high visibility area, like the kitchen or maybe the living room. Step 2, write the schedule out using big capital letters and nice, neat writing so it's super easy for them to read at a glance. And step 3, be patient. It might definitely take a little while to get your client to learn to check the board on their own, but man, once they do, it can have a massive positive effect on lowering those anxiety levels.
So the crucial point is that we've got to proactively remove anxiety triggers right out of the environment. If there are visual cues lying around, say a wrapped birthday present sitting on the dining table, or purses and keys right by the front door, the smart PCA strategy is to keep those completely out of sight until they are actually needed. Literally, seeing a purse triggers the thought of leaving, which triggers the repetitive questions. Next up, rushing. If you rush a client to get to an appointment, their anxiety is going to absolutely spike. The strategy here? Allow plenty of extra time to prepare. Don't sweat the clock. And finally, mentioning upcoming events. Just avoid mentioning an event until it is exactly time to get ready for it. Don't plant the seed too early.
Okay, bringing us to our final part, Section 5, Preparation and Patience, Protecting Your Own Energy. Be well prepared. If you have somewhere to be, get yourself ready ahead of time. Why? So that you can focus your attention entirely on helping your client when it's their turn. I really want to remind you, trainees, of a critical fact here. Emotion is highly contagious. If your client senses your annoyance, if they see you rushing around, totally unprepared and stressed out, they will pick up on that negative emotion instantly. They probably won't know why, but they will become anxious and agitated, which, you guessed it, only leads to more repetitive questions. So thorough preparation is basically your shield against falling into that stressful cycle. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap things up today. The next time your client asks you the exact same question for the 50th time that day, will you hear the annoyance or will you hear the anxiety? Remember, it is not a purposeful disruption. It's just a call for reassurance. And armed with these new strategies, from clever redirection to those environmental tweaks, you now have the power to answer that call with true compassion and professional skill.